Right, to the Middle East now, and Syrian rebels are approaching their third major city as their rapid advance continues. Well, they say they've taken Hama, the scene of some of the biggest protests during the Arab Spring at the beginning of the country's civil war back in 2011. Up next is Homs, 50 miles to the south of Hama, where tens of thousands fled overnight, including many who'd escaped the fighting further north. Let's just take you through how Syria has reached this point. Well, the conflict there dates back some 13 years when protests to the decades of rule by the Assad family began. The regime's brutal response led to civil war. Rebels, including Islamist factions, first took the city of Aleppo in 2012. The fighting raged for years, with the so-called Islamic State controlling up to a third of the country until they were defeated by a coalition of international forces. The government took Aleppo back in 2016. Now, led by a Sunni Islamist group called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the opposition is taking territory yet again. They claim to have control of Idlib province. They've also taken Aleppo in just 3 days, including the city's airport. And they posted pictures of themselves in the city centre, while the government retaliated with airstrikes, including a strike on the university hospital. They've taken control of Hama, too, in the centre of the country after the Syrian Arab army withdrew, and they're expected now to target the city of Homs. All right, let's bring in our Middle East correspondent, Alistair Bunkle, for more on this. So, Alistair, look, it's a lightning series of strikes here that we're seeing from these rebels, these insurgents, HTS. What's been the response at this point from the Syrian Arab army? Have they just been falling back?
Pretty much. The Syrian army just withdrew from Aleppo about a week ago, almost a week ago, and it did the same in Hama yesterday. Now, the official reason for their withdrawal from Hama without putting up a fight was to avoid civilian casualties and to avoid what would have probably been a major urban battle in the centre of Hama. So that's the official reason. Not a lot of people are buying that. It is looking increasingly likely that the Syrian government army, the Syrian government military, is something of a paper tiger, has been hollowed out through years of corruption and economic collapse in Syria, and now perhaps they're just not up to the challenge of trying to prevent this rapid advance by opposition fighters. There have been many airstrikes carried out by Syrian jets and Russian jets. Russia is a key backer of President Assad's, but they have done nothing to actually stop the advance. And there are pictures now of rebel fighters in villages 5-10 kilometres from the outskirts of Homs. So they are continuing that advance. They haven't stopped to consolidate their gains. They have momentum and they're pushing on with it. Homs, if they were to capture it, would be a major victory. It'd be a strategic city because of where it sits on a sort of crossroads, bisecting two regime favourable areas. It would stop loyalists to the regime being able to travel between Damascus and the coastal cities of Latakia and Tartus, for example. And so we'll see what the battle for Homs, assuming that's what's coming, and there's every sign that is what's coming, we'll see what that is like, because the Syrian army, Assad's forces, can withdraw, but at some point they either need to put up a fight to stop this advance, or the road to Damascus is going to open up. And that road to Damascus is getting ever shorter, and there is now a growing feeling amongst the rebels and their supporters that perhaps, and right now it remains still very much an if, but perhaps the days of long Assad family rule in Syria could be nearing an end.